I think the yellow flags are conversations. Something is like something maybe seems a bit odd, and I need to stop and ask myself what's going on here, and have a conversation with my partner or with the person I'm considering to be in a relationship with, and say, what's going on here, and see how you can, especially navigate for you as individuals. And I think there's a lot of situations where like things maybe aren't as black and white.
Hmm.
So
For sure, and that's why it's really important not to jump to conclusions, stop, take a breath, and get curious. Find out what's going
great.
on behind the person's thoughts. I think that's the motto of the yellow zone. Be curious.
Yes, be curious.
And if you think of that in terms of bhakti and devotional service, um, the red zones, in actuality, we could refer to those as Vaishnava aparad. Literally, when we have negative interactions and more or less we're committing some kind of aparads toward each other. We're behaving in very unhealthy ways. And the green zone is when we're, having exchanges of loving devotion and service and kindness and compassion and empathy. And the yellow zones are when we notice there's a red zone, we make that effort to bring things back into focus towards the green zone. And that's a very important point, is what really makes a marriage successful and also enables us to advance in spiritual life is the effort we make to bring those disconnections back into a state of connection. That's what keeps our relationships moving forward and healthy. And if we just become complacent, generally things don't just remain where they are. They tend to gravitate down. So it is important to have that consciousness. You're looking for areas to improve in. It's like when you're driving your car, there's not many instruments there, but you probably do look at your gas gauge sometimes, and you're
Oil
looking
light.
to see if the oil light goes on. And if you don't pay attention, you're either going to run out of gas or your engine might seize up or something. So it's healthy to be aware of that kind of yellow zone when you get there, so you can make the effort to improve.
And
And
so oh,
oh, go ahead, Tiffany. You go ahead.
thank you. So could you possibly give us some examples of what would be red flags or green flags or yellow flags in a normal relationship?
Um, one red flag would be a continued behavior, like if she asks me a question and I'm reading a book or something and I don't even respond. I don't say anything, I don't look at her, I don't acknowledge. That would be a bit of a red flag. It's sometimes referred to as turning away. Your partner makes a little bid for connection. It's not a beautiful bird outside, and I don't respond. And maybe every now and then you might not respond, but if that's a continued pattern that you don't acknowledge your partner, you don't engage in conversation, it tends to create a very big disconnect. So that's definitely a red flag.
And that one's not so readily noticeable by people.
Mm-hmm.
But it's interesting. One researcher found that when he watches couples, if he sees that, he knows within 2 years they're going to be divorced.
Oh, saying.
So I think some of the other red flags are the real obvious ones, like coercion, any kind of abuse, really selfish, those kind of indicators that one isn't really capable of being in a relationship.
Red flags can also be if there's ongoing unresolved problems that continually come up in highly conflicted manners, and it's just like a car spinning the wheels, stuck in the snow or stuck in the mud and never progressing. That's a red flag. And a kind of a hidden red flag can also be if couples just sweep their problems under the carpet and don't deal with them. Because if you can sweep so much under the carpet, but eventually there's a big lump there and you're going to trip on it. So it's important for couples to acknowledge that, okay, we have a problem here, we're not dealing with our issues, or we have a problem here, we're highly conflicted. how can we deal with our conflict in a way we feel comfortable if we're not dealing with it? And if it's too escalated and volatile, well, how can we deal with this in a way which is constructive and non-confrontational and respectful? Because conflict is normal in this world. It's normal. But it's how you deal with it. So it's very important to realize, that yellow zone, okay, there's things we have to improve in our relationship. What knowledge or skills can we do to literally bring those other exchanges, which are either in the modes of passion or ignorance, into the mode of goodness so we can deal with them in a healthy way.
So if you're looking to get into a relationship with someone, you do want to see if they're overly self-centered, if they have really poor emotional control, and if they just have very few relationship skills. Those are kind of, red flags if you're looking to get into a relationship.